Hey everyone, welcome back to my website here at LachelleZFarrington.com. We are back this week with a new blog topic, and today's topic is entitled The Power of Perspective. So if you guys were here last week we talked about it's time to reboot. All right, so now if you didn't get to watch last week's vlog, I suggest that you do so before jumping into this vlog, because this is a continuation from last week. So we rebooted. We are now focusing on God. We're believing God when things seem impossible, and now we're moving on to the next step. So last week, again, like I said, like I shared, Thursday night, I think that was October 25th, Thursday night, I got in the shower. And sure enough, as I got in the shower and I began to take my shower, I heard the Lord say, the power of perspective. So, of course, I'm like, okay, God, the power of perspective. And he began to pour so many things into my heart. So he began to speak to me just about how our lives can be changed. Our circumstances can be changed just by the power of your perspective. It's how you perceive your circumstances. So today, I am going to base it off of a scripture that God gave me. So we are going to read from Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 to 23. So I'm going to read that right quick, and it's going to set everything up for what we are getting ready to get into this week. So it's Matthew chapter 14. I am reading in the New Living Translation, and this is about Jesus walking on the water. So it says, immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and crossed to the other side of the lake. Now, just to show you what happened earlier, Jesus had just fed the 5,000, okay? So he insisted that the disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. Night fell while he was there alone. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came towards them, walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!" But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage. I am here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you, walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshipped him. "You really are the Son of God," they exclaimed. So, talking about the power of perspective. So as I was saying, I was in the shower and God began to pour into me. A lot of times when we're going through our battles, when we're down in the valley, when we're down and out and we're facing the circumstances of life, we focus so much on the wind and the waves, our lack, our unhappiness, our depression, our brokenness, our emotionalism, our haters, our fears, our weaknesses, being overwhelmed, even focusing on things that we don't have. But after last week's blog on rebooting, now it's time for us to shift our perspective. So we're no longer going to continue to focus on what's going wrong in our lives, but now it's time for us to start focusing on what is going right. And if God is the only thing that you've done right in this hour, that's where we're going to shift our perspective to. And that's what God began to speak to me while I was in the shower. So instead of us focusing on things that were going wrong in our lives, we have to find something in your life that you can give God thanks for. So right now, I want you to stop and think, in the midst of all the hell and the chaos that you're going through, what are some of the things that we can give God thanks for? Like today, I'm sitting here recording. I just found out earlier today that someone that was dear to me passed away from cancer last night. I went to go visit her in the hospital and she had tubes everywhere. So guess what? I'm thankful for the fact that I can inhale and exhale without a breathing machine. I can inhale and exhale on my own. I have a roof over my head. I have clothes on my back. I got food to eat. So in the midst of everything that I am yet believing God to bring to pass, I am so thankful for life. I am so thankful for health. I am so thankful for my family that loves me. So find something, just take a moment and just find something that you can thank God for right now. So from this day forth, we are going to commit to have a heart and attitude of gratitude. We are going to be grateful. We're going to find something that brings joy to our life each and every day. When circumstances arise, we are going to shift our focus. We're going to shift our perspective to something that we can be thankful to God for. And as we glorify God, that problem is going to become so much smaller. Our words shape our world. It truly does. And our heart, our posture, it can either cause God's hand to move on our behalf, or it can actually withhold the hand of God from moving on our behalf. For example, you have the woman in the Bible who had the daughter who was possessed with demons. And Jesus told her what he had was for the Jews. As she was so full of faith, she didn't care. She said, even the dogs get to eat the scraps. That faith, that kind of faith, moved Jesus to cause him to bring healing to her daughter. It wasn't time yet for the Gentiles to receive, but because of faith, she was able to circumvent time and receive her miracle right there and then. Even the woman with the issue of blood, she was not focused on the fact that she was bleeding for God knows how many years. She wasn't focused on the fact that she should have been outside of the crowd and people could have possibly stoned her. She pressed her way through as she had so much faith. She just knew that if she could touch the hem of Jesus's garment, she would be made whole. And her faith granted her healing. But on the opposite, you had the children of Israel who left Egypt to go into the promised land, but because of all of their murmuring and complaining, they were stuck in the desert for 40 years until a whole generation was wiped out. They could not enter the promise because of their heart's posture. Because they were so busy murmuring and complaining, they didn't have time to focus on the fact that God just delivered you from 400 years of slavery. Even in our scripture reading, Peter, he began to focus on the winds and the waves, and he began to sink. The entire time while his eyes were focused on Jesus, he was walking on the water. But the minute he shifted his perspective and he changed his focus from Jesus to his surroundings, that's when he began to sink. And we're no longer going to sink in 2018. It's time for us to walk on water. It's time for us to really stretch in our faith. And how we're going to do that? The first step is going to be shifting our perspective. And we're shifting our perspective back to God. So in order to change our perspective, in order to shift our perspective, we're going to start changing our world with our words. So November 1st, I am starting a 31-day challenge on the shift of our perspective. And we are going to be using the book. I'm going to be using this book, I Am, The Name with Power. This is a 31-day daily meditation, confession, and revelations book. It's Hear It, Speak It, See It by author Beverly Barracks, who's one of my really good friends. You can get the book on Amazon. If you want to join me, please comment below. You can order the book on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime. You can get it in 2 days. And I am so excited. We're gonna shift our focus. I'm telling you, I'm serious about just getting into everything that God has for us. Even in 2018, we are not going into 2019 the same way we came into 2018, okay? So if you are down for this challenge, please join me. We are starting November 1st. This is an I Am Confession. So each and every day, I'm going to come on here and we are going to do the I Am Confessions. I'm going to read through it and we are going to just start speaking what God says about us. And this book is 31 days filled with what God has said about us using the word I am. And you know, in the book of Exodus, God said, I am that I am. When he told Moses to, if Pharaoh asked, who sent me? You tell him, I am that I am sent you. So we are going to be saying and declaring and confessing what God has said about us. And we are going to meditate on that. And we are going to allow those positive words to frame our world. All right, guys. So I am so excited to start this challenge with you all. Let me know in the comments below if you are down for the challenge each and every day for the next 31 days, which I think that means it's going to end on December 1st. We are going to be doing the I Am Challenge. Go ahead and order the book. You have enough time. If you order it today, you'll get it by Wednesday and it'll be just in time for you to start. So it's just one page each and every day. You just have one page and then you have a space right next to it where you can write your notes. So this is going to be amazing. I can't wait for you guys to join the challenge. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. You will see me right here on www.lachelzbarrington.com for day 1 of the I Am Challenge. We are shaping our world with our words. All right, guys, you have a wonderful day. I'll see you on Thursday, November 1st. Bye.